What does the idea of Halo mean to you? Is there a specific thing that makes Halo what it is? Is it themes of hope? Is it that feeling when someone's head corks back after you ping them with that fourth burst of your BR? Is it that moment when you dropped a tank on your friend in Forge? None of these answers are wrong. Anyone that tells you they are is a fucking moron. What does the idea of Halo mean to Halo Studios? Well, let's see.
Oh, hello, I am the Sacred Ungoi Prophet of old, and it has been a very long time, and I am here to ask you to subscribe to this channel, please. He'll kill me. Okay, bye. Holy shit.
In hushed tones, a breathless amphitheater rung only of the soft, dulcet tones of that ever-familiar chant. The year? 2011. Whispers online ahead of this event told of a remake of one of the most cherished games in existence being in development. Much debate was had. Why redo what is already good? Are they going to remake the whole game? Who even wants a remake? Why does it hurt when I appear?
Who the hell put that in the script?
But as those ever-familiar hums fondled our eardrums, one Jeffrey Steitzer pierced the void of audio with that booming presence. He reminded us of the legacy that the last 10 years had stemmed from. The original. The OG. Halo Combat Evolved. But what was once a shining display of technological prowess had fallen victim to the annals of history. Halo's glittered crown had rusted. Its facade, a dreaded, lowly resolution. 343 Industries sought to remind everyone what Halo was, but this time with updated graphics, reshot cutscenes using mocap, oh, and we cannot forget the toggle. I mean, it's really, really cool. Old, new. Old, new. Old, new. What the fuck? Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary was born. Would you stop doing that, please? CEA was a remaster of Combat Evolved. Was it good? I mean... in this humble Halo Puritan's opinion, it didn't really capture the spirit of what CE had. There are areas that don't retain the color palette or atmosphere of the original game and honestly don't even seem to try. It's honestly a dramatic departure visually from the desolate vibe the original title offered. Why am I talking about this? Well, because this just happened. Now, for the record, this is not an actual Halo title in development, but it is intended to set the tone for what is to come. The art on display is expected to be captured in whatever 343 releases next. What does that mean, though? It means we're getting Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary, baby! Gamers, we're going back. But you might be asking yourself, Jera, why the f*** are they remaking Halo CE again when they could be doing something new? To which I would say, excuse me, sir, can you not read this sign? This clearly says Halo Studios. That's like a completely different company. Hey, shut that camera off! Shut the camera off! Cut the foot! 343 Industries is no more. They are gone. Microsoft put them down like a hunter with a magnum. Like I work like Halo jokes and like cool Halo humor in the videos and stuff sometimes. It's just like a cool bit I do sometimes. But also, they're not really gone because it's just a rebrand of the same company. Hence, most of the people in charge there have been there since the 2022 reshuffling. But hey, the good news is that with them moving to Unreal over the Slipspace engine, all that tech debt amassed over the last 25 years is gone. In its place is shader compilation stutter and poor physics-oriented netcode. Woohoo! But let's actually get down to brass tacks here. What could this actually mean for Halo if it's a brand new engine with brand new technology? To get an idea of the future, we need look no further than the insight of precedent to determine what Halo Studios' attitude will be when developing this next game. If there's any lesson we should take away from the 343 era, it's that corporate loves to get in the way of things. Look no further than the myriad of feedback-driven responses to entire long-term strategies. Let's start from the beginning of 343's reign and circle back to that very same Halo Combat Evolved anniversary. Now, in fairness, Halo CEA was an ambitious project from 343. In theory, remaking the classic Halo experience, translating that for a newer audience, what did that look like exactly? Well, it looked like 343 outsourcing the work to Saber Interactive, who were at the time known for highly esteemed titles such as, Will Rock? What the fuck is this?
Will Rock is a first-person shooter developed by Saber Interactive and published by Ubisoft. Released in June 2000.
It's Serious Sam starring Kurt Russell or Hercules or Fabio or some shit. Incredible. But don't worry, they also worked on Time Shift, which is a game about Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary was good for what Saber was asked to do, which was to pretty up Halo CE.
Oh, it looks just like CE. It's
What the fuck did you just say? What the fuck did you just say? You think it's just like CE?
No!
You
No!
clearly failed to grasp the stakes of the statement you just made. You don't have the faintest idea what Halo CE is. You don't understand that I am the lone gatekeeper that guards the sacred IP from the hordes of rubes that seek to poison the well. So let me clue you in. This fucking piece of shit you call a remake is a blight, a stain on the glass of a visor, a notch in the arm.
CEA was a good stepping on point for newcomers of the franchise looking to understand the first game story, but it didn't really capture the spirit of the original game at all. Why is that? Well, a lot of it has to do with Gearbox's shoddy port of Halo CE to PC. You see, for some reason, when Gearbox ramshackled CE to computers, they gutted it. They destroyed the lighting, they unintentionally used unused and inferior character models, they removed certain lighting/reflective effects.
Why don't the Jackal shields turn red when they get damaged or look all electrical like they do in the future Halo games? The answer is that they did. They did look like that, only on the original Xbox version.
They did a number on CE. If you've only ever played CE on the PC version prior to MCC's PC launch, you owe it to yourself to jump into the original or the MCC remaster that's upres to 4K/unlocked frame rate and cleaned up a lot of the visual issues the Gearbox port created. Now, 343's first outing as Halo developer? It's not great. So we'll go ahead and pull up our Microsoft Halo W's versus L's chart, and we'll just mark that as leaning L. It's not quite fully committed to being bad. There's good intention from 343/Microsoft, as well as Saber in the execution. It's just lost in translation by the unfortunate use of Gearbox's shoddy port. Oh, but what's this? 343 is planning to release their own main entry to the Halo franchise. Well, hot now! Hot off the heels of Halo 3's amazing ending with that awesome cliffhanger, what could they possibly have in store? Oh, the multiplayer of Halo 3 is like the best in the franchise. Since it's a sequel, surely it'll build off that, right? It's gotta be at least better than the deviations that Halo Reach made of the formula. Thank God Reach is only a spin-off and not a main entry it's Reach to. The multiplayer's Reach to. Yay! The campaign? It's decent. Why does it look so different though?
Nanomachine, son.
The multiplayer? Huh? The one with the kill streaks? The one that has perks and loadouts? The one that turned the game into Call of Duty? We'd give this one a W lean because of the campaign, but multiplayer is the bread and butter. So unfortunately, this one is going to also be a fat fucking L. But what's this? 343 has decided to combine the entire original trilogy with Halo 4 and put it all in one package. With a remake of Halo 2 on top of Halo CEA? This has to be. Got campaign at launch doesn't work, multiplayer at launch doesn't work, Forge at launch doesn't work. This is what we in the business call a fat L. But now, we hear tales of another dazzling entry into our wonderful Master Chief story. Well, I'm eager to find out. He's in 3 missions, and you play as some random other guy for 75% of the game. Yes, we know Halo 5's campaign sucked balls. Moving on. The multiplayer is kind of cool. because it sort of returns to the roots of Arena. Oh, pay to win game mode! Pay to win game mode! Ding, ding, ding! What's that? Loot boxes!
I'm out.
Oh, but my precious child, the quiet has come. The silence of half a decade has generated fervor beyond the realms of mere mortals. The halls of eternity ring that ever-present choir. And as yet another amphitheater grows silent, some simple strings complement natural wonders of a spectacular sort. But these tones, they tickle the ear in that recognizable way. I'm back on Earth, fighting them away, pushing them back. They don't get our planet. But then, I'm watching as that cryo chamber crackles to life, and out steps the so-called cyborg, until that simple chord is struck. And I'm staring down the Covenant on a cliff edge, and I'm ready to take them on. Oh. With the trailer as effective and wondrous as this is, there's no denying this feeling. Halo is back. Well, okay, so not really, because we get a trailer next year, then another the year after that, and that one looked like shit. So then we get another one another year later, and it looks all right. Looks pretty good. But then the time comes. The seemingly open world at Halo is here, and with it we are greeted to it's pretty much like a Ubisoft game. Oh, dude, check out these fobs I can go to see more of the map, like in Far Cry. Or I can save Marines in an extremely repetitive rescue mission that's they're all the same mission. Or I can go fight bosses that are they're just regular mobs with higher health stats. They're just bullet sponges.
HVT in range, Chief. This one's a particularly murderous grunt. He's one of the UNSC's most wanted. Don't underestimate him, Chief.
Are there even NPCs in this open world? What am I supposed to explore? This is just a linear campaign with bloated open areas filled with shallow content. Oh, but don't worry, because we've got multiplayer to think about.
I'm fucking insane. I think they might have buffed the pulse carbine. They didn't really do anything.
Oh my god!
Holy shit, Gary.
Which features the safest Halo multiplayer ever released. Oh, and no Forge for a year. Yeah, like a whole year. Yep. Also, the customization is the most counterintuitive and ass-backward system you've ever seen. But you can be a cool fucking samurai, dude. Oh, look at that. Look at that fucking guy. That's fucking sweet, dude. Holy shit. That's not even mentioning the absolutely skeletal post-launch content, featuring basically no additional maps for 6 months, and only 2 for the following 6 months after that. That is 3 maps in a fucking year! Now, Halo Infinite had potential, but when you release mediocre across the board and fail to even deliver all the accompanying bells and whistles that were already promised for launch, you lose the public sentiment battle. And so with that, Halo Infinite, I have to give you the fattest of fucking L's. Where does that put 343/Halo Studios' success level? Well, unfortunately, I think on measure, it makes their time with Halo a fat fucking L. Where am I going with all of this? I hate to say it, but I don't really have a lot of confidence in the future of Halo. You should lower your expectations on what a Halo CE remake will look like in today's age. The artist formerly known as 343 Industries has repeatedly failed in unique ways over the years that seem to be fairly inconsistent. They learn one thing and consequently unlearn others. Halo 4 campaign was good, multiplayer was bad. Halo 5, multiplayer was good, campaign was bad. Halo Infinite, campaign was and multiplayer was dysfunctional. No lessons really learned after all. My point is, I don't believe anymore that after 13 years of Halo dev, 343 is so incompetent. I believe that Microsoft is wholly responsible for Halo's shortcomings. And as such, I don't imagine that a company that so frequently dives into the trenches of the community's discussions as regards their philosophy is a company that doesn't want to do the right thing. I've talked to 343 devs before in person, and I can tell you, they give a shit, dude. They want to make good games. They really do. They're just not allowed to. But where does that leave us with what appears to be a Halo CE remake in Unreal 5? Well, it's sort of complicated, but I highly suggest that you measure your expectations. Now, Halo CE came out 23 years ago, and its remake, that bungled many things, came out nearly a decade and a half ago. Sorry for my fellow Halo boomers, but it's true. We're really, really old now. But the design sensibilities that made something like Halo CE click back in the day don't necessarily ring true now. Would 343 really want to recreate CE without sprint, with no equipment, no clambering or traversal abilities at all? I very seriously doubt that. If I'm Halo Studios and I'm continuing the trend of attempting to broaden our franchise's appeal to a wider audience, which they are, I'm not going to achieve that by simply remaking Halo CE again one-to-one with modern visuals. It's not going to work. Unfortunately, the reality is that it's possible Halo Studios has great ideas for what a CE remake could be, but a developer is exactly as strong as a company that controls it. Call it what you want, but Halo Studios is still a company fully under the stern grip of Microsoft. Take a look at this really beautiful art demo that Halo Studios released as their initial rebranding announcement. You'll see that there is passion behind every polygon on display. You'll see that there are people chomping at the bit to prove to us that they understand what Halo is and plan to deliver that to us. But we've seen this song and dance before. Halo Infinite was this. Halo 5's initial announcement was this. So was MCC. So was 4. So was CEA. There's good intention in every direction, but every step of the way, there is trend chasing. There is ever increasingly egregious monetization. There is a fundamental disconnect between the intent of the artists passionately sculpting these projects and the corporate maximalist intent. This isn't likely to change just because the studio has rebranded. Take a look, for example, at what is talked about in the video itself. You hear a lot of discussion about the burden of slip space and the struggles the dev team had working with it, as if that was essentially the entire problem. But that just isn't true. While developing on slip space was a pain in the ass, eventually 343 turned a corner with it. Behind the scenes post-launch of Infinite, 343 streamlined the engine significantly and made massive improvements to its pipeline across the board. The problem wasn't the engine. The problem is that Microsoft doesn't pay devs long term. You see, through the entirety of Halo Infinite's development, the majority of the development team was contractors. Now, in theory, that's no big deal, right? Contractors working on something, that's fine. You hire somebody to do a job, they do the job, and then they're done. Here's the problem. Microsoft, being the immovable object that a behemoth corporation is, has a company-wide policy of hiring contractors for a maximum of a year and a half, at which point, when the time is up, they are reviewed and potentially let on board the team as an actual employee. But this barely ever happens because Microsoft quite likes the idea of not bringing on longer term unless they absolutely have to. Why is this? Because anyone not contracted gets paid more, and Satya Nadella doesn't increase his personal wealth by nearly 50% year over year by promoting people at their studios. So in the door you come, and out you go. You are developing a product that you will never see the end of, as is the nature of your contract. This is devastating to the creative process and leads to situations like people departing in the middle of developing assets and content, then being replaced by someone who has no context for your prior work, who then has to adapt to the engine and then begin to get to work. Now, admittedly, Halo Studios has obviously switched to Unreal Engine, as I initially mentioned. But is that explicitly a good thing? No, but I don't think it's a bad thing either. I think it's a concerning thing, because now we have to trust Halo Studios to design a Halo game from the ground up on an entirely different engine. Blam/Slipspace's friction and locomotion was fairly unique. I'm sure it could be replicated to an extent, but can Halo truly be Halo on Unreal Engine? Let's take a look at precedent. Halo has never been on Unreal before in official capacity, but it has been in unofficial capacity. Take, for example, the incredible work being done over at Ringworld Alpha. Now, I've spoken to guys over there on multiple occasions, and I've been pondering the question of whether or not Halo's physics can actually translate to Unreal. The guys over there swear by its ability to do so, and they have some compelling evidence to point to it being capable. This is excellent news. The problem is that any work that isn't immediately evidently monetization geared is going to be looked at as unnecessary. I don't expect the executive maximalists at Microsoft to give a rat's ass about making sure the physics in a CE remake are good, because that's a hard pitch. You can't really explain to somebody why physics are important. But physics also isn't really that complicated. It's just friction and gravity that's easily tweaked with out-of-the-box Unreal Engine features. It's one thing to implement locomotion that's similar, but then you add vehicle physics to the equation. In Halo, I can jump on top of a friend's Warthog and shoot people while riding on it. But not only that, I can ram my Warthog into objects and have both my vehicle and the objects dynamically react in a realistic way. Is this possible on Unreal Engine? I found examples of it being performed on a micro scale, but what happens when you have 24 Spartans running around, knocking things over, driving vehicles, splattering each other with ragdoll physics and chunks and bits of static objects flying and damaging and killing people? Is that something Unreal Engine can replicate? Is it something it can replicate at a larger scale? The reality is that I just don't know, and we collectively don't know. I've researched UE5's capabilities quite a lot, and I have seen some things that are promising on that front. And I think anything can be achieved within that engine if the right people have the right motivations to do so. But just again, looking at Halo Studios' track record, it's not looking good. I know that Halo Studios has had the same thoughts, and someone somewhere has expressed concerns about the logistics of tweaking Unreal to fit these features. But here's the bigger problem. Why would Microsoft care? Do you think they understand how important Halo's physics are to its game feel? I don't know that they would understand at all, because every single 343 Halo game has seen a marginal decrease in physics simulation presented in-game. Halo 4 saw the destruction of gravity lifts in favor of a on-the-rails parabol thingy. Halo 5 saw a reduction of ragdoll physics. It reduced friction of vehicles, and sort of destroyed the inherently floaty nature of Halo in favor of a more modern and simplistic snappiness. Halo Infinite, however, saw the destruction of interactable static objects. Look at these objects just moving away from me without affecting my inertia. Look at how I am unable to stand on or manipulate these objects in any meaningful way. Look at how 343 announced that in order to fix some of the netcode issues, they were removing significant amounts of static objects present in maps, only for the netcode to spiral out of control all the same again. This is the kind of stuff that matters, but it's also just risky territory to push into right now. But I don't think any of that will matter anytime soon, because it won't even come into play. I don't think that Halo CE's upcoming remake will be anything but campaign. Why do I think this? Because it's the most advantageous thing for them to do. They've already proven with Halo Infinite that they can justify charging for just a campaign experience. So I expect that to be what's done in the remake. But what's the practical reason for this? Well, I don't believe people will be outraged to pay for a Halo CE remake that is just a campaign. Just look at the myriad of examples to point to. The Last of Us, Horizon, Dead Space, Resident Evil 2, 3, and 4. All of these titles have pushed out remakes and remasters, and they are only single-player experiences. People are willing to pay more for less. But there's another practicality to this, and it's on Halo Studios' side. Instead of sprinting out the gate with a fully kitted Halo title featuring multiplayer, Forge, theater, etc., by simply remaking the original campaign, you significantly limit the scope of what you're trying to accomplish, therefore allowing yourself more room to succeed, effectively hitting the reset button on what a Halo's title's expectations are for out-of-the-box features. Halo Studios could handcraft CE from the ground up, and possibly even modernize and adapt the gameplay to appeal to more modern gamers, and maybe this time it'll actually work. Halo CE is the starting point of the entire franchise, and just look how well a high-quality remake did for Resident Evil 2. It's now Capcom's best-selling Resident Evil game. Apply this lens to Halo, and pitch it as a retelling of events, and you might just be able to rope some new people in. The risky nature of every single 343 title has paved the way to the road we are on now. Every title 343 has produced has involved taking chances nobody asked them to take, and it has cost them time and time again. Ambition can often be the enemy of adequacy, and I think 343 has consistently fallen into that pit. But if you strip down that scope, and you really knuckle down on a relatively simple project, it becomes a lot easier to prioritize quality, because the goalpost has moved completely. Do I firmly believe the next Halo will be single player only? Not firmly, but I think there's a very strong chance, and I think it's the business savvy thing to do. Ultimately, just knowing Microsoft, it's all completely up in the air. But I think this would present Halo Studios with something they've struggled with from the beginning. Once again, setting expectations. Halo Studios has constantly tried to develop Halo games that can be everything that Halo fans expect. Infection, Assault, Griffball, Fully Fledged Forge, Theater, custom games, character customization. That is a lot to ask of a developer every time they release a title. And with all due respect, Halo Studios isn't Activision. Halo has one of the biggest suites of content to offer, and it has often been the enemy of 343's success because they've consistently failed to reproduce all of those modes. This would be an opportunity to hit that reset button. Halo Studios could drop a Halo CE remake, rebuild trust in the Halo IP by making it hyper-polished and airtight, and then down the road, introduce a multiplayer project that's also more or less isolated into its own silo. Then eventually, they could work their way back up to possibly combining the two, or just figure things out from there. The point is, if they're teasing Halo CE being remade, do people expect it to not be a reboot? Do we think Halo Studios might not take the opportunity to redefine the franchise from the ground up? Now, I'm saying all of this stuff and talking really kind of broadly about what a Halo CE remake could be, but now I have to talk about something I don't want to talk about, because I don't think people are going to like it when I say this. You're gonna hate me, actually. You know who's a really great voice actor? Steve Downes. You know who's even better than Steve Downes? The 33-year-old voice actor just trying to make a name for themselves that'll do it for 1/5 of the cost that Steve Downes would do it. Don't think they'd do that? They've tried to do it multiple times now. There's test footage of Halo 4 where Steve Bloom voices Master Chief. You know, Cowboy Bebop. I believe they may have even tried to do it for Infinite. We can look at things like Jeff Steitzer's multiplayer announcer not being as heavily featured in Infinite as another example of this. We are looking at a reality where some of these people just aren't going to be around soon. So best to get them replaced before they pass away and before it's maximum controversy to do so. At the end of the day, we have no idea what the future holds. All we know is that Halo Studios has informed us that what they showed us in that Unreal demo is a tease of what's to come. My ultimate speculation for Halo CE's potential remake is that it's going to look new, sound new, feel new, and essentially be a completely new product. I don't know that it will even replicate the original story. It might be a full reboot that completely rewrites everything. We know Halo Studios struggles to commit to long-term strategies, so I think it's very likely that they'll can the work they did in Infinite and once again hit the reset button, this time with much larger implications. Maybe Halo is in for a Doom-like resurgence. Maybe Halo is doomed to irrelevancy. The best we can do is continue to speculate and make educated guesses. I'll say this much. I personally have very little interest in the IP now, considering that I grew up with it. I stand firm in my belief that Microsoft has absolutely no concern for the fans of the franchise and will always seek to chase the dragon that is the broader audience, forever watering down the experiences that we know and love. I'd love to be wrong, but if you want my brutally honest opinion, you should not get your hopes up for this upcoming release. Hey, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. This took me way longer than it should have to make. I'm really bad at staying focused on stuff like this. But thanks for watching. Much appreciated. Hit that sub button. I did want to say that if you enjoyed this or if you enjoy some of my other content that I've made, I do have a streaming channel that I'm launching now, and it's called Jairus Under Streams. It's going to be linked in the description with a little animation on the screen there. Whoop-de-doo. But other than that, again, thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking it out. And if you've been here for a while, appreciate you. Thanks for sticking around as long as you have. It's been a long time since I did a Halo video, hasn't it? Don't expect a whole lot more anytime soon. This is really just kind of like a happenstance thing. I wrote this because of the circumstances that Halo is in right now, and that's really kind of the primary motivation of that. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have done it. So, thanks for watching. Adios!